Hi, I'm Eliza and I quit vaping over a year ago in November of 2021. It has been an incredible journey to quit vaping, definitely not a super simple one, but I'm here to offer all the tips that I have for anyone out there who is serious about quitting. Because if you aren't serious about quitting, you won't quit and you will fall back into your cycles of nicotine use. So for everyone who's still here and serious about quitting, here are the tips that I have that really helped me quit and change my life forever. The first tip I have for quitting nicotine is to set a start date. I know that this can sound pretty simple, but it is the first step most definitely. Setting a start date makes it so that it's harder for you to back out instead of just picking a random day or waking up one Saturday morning and deciding you're done with the addiction. Deciding you're done with the addiction is only part of the first step because you actually have to stop to start quitting nicotine. Setting a start date and holding yourself accountable to starting on that day is important. Hold yourself responsible for if you go back into vaping or if you truly stick to your word, and respect yourself. Setting a start date and listening to that start date will give yourself more self-respect. You know you want to quit, you know vaping is bad for you, you set a date to start and you stick to it if you're serious about ending this addiction forever. Setting a start date is super beneficial if you don't back out. It was also very helpful for me to set a start date because this gave me time to prepare and really get in all my vape usage. When I was in the height of my addiction, I was buying, I'm talking like 3 vapes a week about. I was a big addict. I would hit that shit and make it a distraction for just about everything I wanted to numb in my life. If you're looking to quit and you use nicotine to distract you from something in your life that you may be avoiding, know that you're gonna have to face this unless you wanna just pick up another addiction and have to eventually deal with that. Or not deal with that and just live a life of addiction. But anyone who's watching this is not wanting to live a life of addiction, because if you're watching this, you want to quit vaping, and you can and you will, and it's possible. You want to do it, and that doesn't mean it's going to be easy, but that doesn't mean it's not possible. Building a rocket ship is most definitely not easy, but look at all the amazing, intelligent humans who have been able to come up with this and execute it. You can execute quitting vaping. I know that this isn't the same as building a rocket ship, but quitting an addiction isn't rocket science. If you can hold yourself accountable and if you're really ready for that new start and that end of a chapter. Setting the start date made it so that I knew that I was stopping on this day. Honestly, I'm gonna be honest for a second. My start date was November 1st, like no Nick November, no nut November. I made that up for myself, which is something I highly recommend because that really got me in the spirit and thinking if boys can hold off from, doing their own things for 1 month, what is me vaping? What is me vaping compared to that? If boys can do that, if they actually do that, I can totally hold off vaping for 1 month. Knowing and seeing that other people have done the same thing with other addictions or even nicotine itself is inspiring and can help you continue on the journey if you're feeling hopeless. When I set a start date, I got in all my last fixes and knew that the end was coming. Hold yourself accountable to this start date and give yourself some self-respect and start on that start date. Giving yourself some time in between today and the start date will allow for you to kind of mentally prepare for quitting. You may also want to do your own sort of mental preparation because nicotine, or any substance for that matter, will be a shock to your body when you just eliminate it cold turkey if that's what you're choosing to do, which is what I did. There are many different symptoms for anyone out there who is quitting a substance. And personally for me, I just had really bad insomnia. I wasn't so irritable, but mentally prepare yourself for the side effects that could come along with quitting and know that they are going to be there and they're going to be part of your path, but you can walk through that and make it through that to the other side, because those side effects and symptoms of quitting your addiction won't last forever and they're only temporary. And I promise that it's so worth it to go through this temporary struggle for you to come out with no nicotine addiction and a healthier lifestyle and more money in your bank account. Also, my chair is squeaking so much, so if you hear that, there's a little mouse in here. Sorry guys, it's really hot in here. Oh my god. Okay guys, I think I'm gonna take off my jackets. Okay, moving on to another tip of quitting your nicotine addiction, which is to reprogram your mind. Right now, your mind loves nicotine and it loves being in the cycle of continuing to hit it and continuing to spend your money and continuing to sabotage yourself. You know, I can admit when I vaped, I thought it was cool and I was fitting in with everyone and looking cool, you know, hitting this thing, having smoke come out of my mouth, tasting this cool flavor, feeling this sensation in my body. But matter of fact, vaping flat out isn't cool unless you think slowly killing yourself is cool, which, you know, have your own opinion. But I like to live a healthy lifestyle, and I think that taking care of yourself is cool. So right now, if you're in a nicotine addiction, your mind loves nicotine. Am I wrong? You might have a love-hate relationship, as most addictions do. And to help your mind get a different perspective on nicotine, you're gonna start telling yourself a different story about nicotine. When I quit, I was having thoughts commonly pop up in my head, such as,
oh my god, I just want to hit this, just one hit, like why am I doing this?
I was being very impatient with the process because the addiction is a very difficult cycle to break, especially when you're really deep into it. But do not let these thoughts kill your hope and kill your inspiration for quitting if you are that serious about your own life and your own health. During the time I was quitting, when these thoughts would come up in my mind and resurface, I would talk to those thoughts again. I would retrain my mind and I would start telling myself how much I loved my life not vaping. It sounded so stupid and I didn't feel it all at first, but that didn't stop me from continuing to teach myself to think differently about vaping. Vaping was like this. We were so close, and vaping was like my third arm. And if you have a third arm and you're going to get that cut off, it's going to be a very painful process. So I was mentally assisting myself through this process of cutting off my third arm by telling myself life will be better with two arms and, you know, I'll have less to deal with. Continuing to consciously reprogram my mind and thoughts towards vaping really did help, because now I'm living a life where I love not vaping, which is exactly what I remember telling myself just about 2 years ago. And listen, I know it will sound and feel like a bunch of bullshit at first, saying that you love life not vaping and life is so much better this way and whatever things you come up with for yourself. But hey, if you're serious about vaping, you're gonna believe those statements as much as you can until they're the fucking truth. So in my own personal experience quitting vaping, that was a period of time in my life where I smoked weed every day, and I don't do that anymore. But basically, my next tip is to find a substitute. I do not recommend turning to other substances because those are just other addictions or dependencies in their own. But other healthy substitutes could really be beneficial for quitting your addiction for good. Some examples I have are working out, meditating, breath work, drawing, going outside, yoga, making food, walking, running, painting, learning some new music, stretching, learning a new hobby, making some music, organizing your room, reading a book, doing some homework, learning something new that you've always wanted to learn, etc., etc. You get the point. I'm sure you can find substitutes for yourself that really align with your new life of not being a nicotine addict. Quitting nicotine is not going to be easy, but that doesn't mean it's not possible. If this is truly what you want for yourself, you're not going to let anything get in the way. When you're quitting nicotine, look out for the friends that try and offer you some, because are those really the friends that are out there looking out for the best of you? If I was trying to quit nicotine, which I was, and a friend offered me a hit, which a friend did, and she said that she wouldn't tell anyone and it's just one hit and it wouldn't even matter, you know, I was really tempted and really contemplating hitting it, thinking it wouldn't really matter. But who knows, what if I hit it that one time and I just went directly back into my vaping days, and the 2 or so weeks that I had in the bag were just down the drain and I was back in my addiction. Ask yourself, is someone who is trying to sabotage your forward positive progression in your life, are they really a true friend? Now, I know that this friend could be coming from a place of addiction and knowing that how badly you could just want to hit the vape one more time, but assess your situation and see who's offering you and trying to get you back into the addiction when they see you bettering yourself. So that's the tip, to not listen to people who are trying to lure you back in to the possibly fatal addiction of vaping. Those aren't your true friends, and your true friends will want you to be healthy and your best self And if your best self is not you vaping and you know that, just look out for the people who offer you a hit of a vape or are doing anything to make it seem like you should come back to that lifestyle. This can be tempting, especially when it's from a really close friend or someone you love near and dear, but you are your main priority, not your friend offering this hit. If you are done with quitting, make yourself a priority, hold yourself responsible for your decisions, and refrain. So this next tip kind of has to do with the last one, and this is if you do hit a vape in your process of quitting and you feel really guilty or like you want to go back to vaping, this is where you really have an option to look at yourself in the mirror and reflect and say, is this a time where I'm truly ready for this and I'm going to do this for myself? And that was one little slip up that I'm not going to let hold me back. And if anything, it can just show me how far I can go because I don't need nicotine. Are you going to let this be something that sucks you back into the life of vaping, or are you going to let this be something to mark your final hit? I fully believe that you have so much and all of the power to fully commit to not vaping, even if you do
Accidentally
fall back once or twice. I think quitting no matter what is the decision, so even if that means slipping up a few times, stay on that path because you can do it, and just because you slip up doesn't mean you're a failure or it's over or you have to vape for the rest of your life. The only thing that determines if you have to vape for the rest of your life is your own mind. You have control over your mind, and quitting vaping is a great time for you to recognize that and exude that ability, because once you do quit, you will see how much control and power you truly do have over your mind, life, and body. Once you do quit, you will feel so powerful. Another tip I have is to maybe make some sort of way where you can track the days that you've not vaped. I know there are a bunch of apps out there for this, but personally that's not really that fun for me. So when I quit, I made a poster on the wall of a bunch of pages that I could rip off, you know, like the thing from Phineas and Ferb and the theme song when all those pages come off. And every day I would take a video of me tearing down the day, and every day I was just more happy, you know. Sometimes there was a crowd of people there to watch me do it, and some days it was me alone at night just tearing it down. But no matter what it was, I felt so empowered to just know I had gone another day. Another tip I have and have learned is that if you are contemplating going back to hitting vaping once you're in the process of quitting, is to just tell yourself to stop for one more day. By this, I mean, let's say it's 2 p.m. and you're really craving to hit some nicotine. Tell yourself, I'm gonna wait till tomorrow, and if I still feel the same way tomorrow, I'll think about it and, you know, I'll do it if I still feel the same way tomorrow. Odds are the next day you will be in a new mindset and you'll wake up and not want to. Now, even if the next day you wake up and not want to, but then later in the day you feel like you want to, same rule. Ask yourself, say, wait, I'm gonna wait one more day, and if I want to tomorrow, I will. I bet you that once you go to sleep and wake up, you'll have a new mindset and honestly be more proud of yourself because you will have gone another day and you'll keep that momentum moving forward. Another tip I have is to find people who have a similar goal to you. If you and your friends are looking to quit, you guys can be like a support group for each other, you know? Be each other's help and support for each other because you guys are friends and you guys should want the best for each other and you guys can be in it together. You guys can be each other's motivators and really be on each other's butts, honestly, if someone wants to quit. And odds are that not everyone in the group will be in the same mentality every second of every day. So let's say one friend really wants to go back to vaping, but one friend is really in the mindset of discipline. You guys could talk each other into it and keep each other moving forward. Okay, and this next tip is a little spicy, but quit in spite of someone. You know, I wouldn't say to do a lot of things in spite, but quitting vaping is definitely one thing you should do out of spite. I had a friend who didn't think I could quit vaping, and this fueled me so much because I just wanted to prove to her how wrong she was about me. She didn't really know me that well at all. We didn't know each other that long, but I wanted to show her that she didn't know who I was and that she didn't have the power over me, because this was a friend who, and there's a whole story behind this, but in this situation, Oh yeah, and she was the one who offered me the vape, so that just kind of goes to show more. But I just wanted to prove her wrong. I wanted to show her that she doesn't control me. She can't decide what I do, and I'm stronger than that. So that's exactly what I did. And I used that spite to quit nicotine. And I would use that again because it was so good. Literally, anytime I thought about going back to it, I would be like, no. I'm not letting this girl think that I am weak to nicotine and that nicotine has the power over me and that she has the power over me. I'm more powerful than that, and I'm gonna step into my own control of my life and show her that I can quit nicotine. And that's exactly what I did. So do it out of spite. Find someone that thinks that you can't and prove them wrong. So I don't know how easy this next tip will be for everyone, but if you do find yourself to be in situations and friend groups and environments where vaping is normal and is always brought up, and if you find yourself to be very tempted, reevaluate if this is where you truly want to be for yourself at this time. I know it can be hard, and I know you probably don't want to be alone, especially during this time of quitting nicotine when you want to distract yourself with anything else, but it's really beneficial to evaluate if the people in your life are really there for your benefit and your best interest. Your best interest is to quit vaping, and if the people in your life are going to continue throwing it in front of your face and offering it to you, that's just not aligned with your best interest. And be honest with yourself if the people you're hanging around are the people that you really should be hanging around for the life that you want to be living for your own health and well-being. I'm not telling you to go and ditch all your friends and say you suck, but definitely evaluate if all the people you hang around and how long you hang around them, if that's the right space for you in this time, because quitting vaping is a very vulnerable time for people, and just honor that for yourself and be gentle and kind with yourself. Don't beat yourself up too much. I know all the negative thoughts will start arising, but that's part of the process of quitting, and you're gonna go through pain, and it's not gonna be easy. You're gonna wanna quit quitting. You're gonna wanna give in. You're gonna wanna say, fuck it, I'm weak. Nicotine can take my life, it can take my money. And this is part of the process, and you gotta deal with it straight on, head on, and ask yourself the questions why you're feeling this way, and get into a maybe deeper sense of what vaping really was for you in your life. Was it a crutch? Was it a mask? Was it a facade? Was it something you relied on? What was vaping for you, and what will it mean taking that piece out of your life? Something else that really kept me motivated was that I just knew. I had this strong intuition that once I quit vaping, my life would change forever. And my life has changed forever in so many ways. Quitting vaping led to so many other healthy habits that have been triggered in my life, and that was just like the first domino to fall over. Quitting vaping has created the greatly needed space for all these positive things to enter my life. Vaping was holding such a negative space in my life, and when I was able to remove that, there was so much light and positivity ready to enter. Vaping really held me back in more ways than I thought, and I didn't see that until after I quit. It took me a few months to fully stop being tempted to hit a vape, and after those few months, I've never felt better about a decision I've made in my life. It has been a while since I've quit, so I'm a little fuzzy on all those memories, but I wouldn't change it for the world. And looking back onto the days I did vape, it's honestly sad because I look back and see the place that I was at in my life, and I knew that vaping was just something that I thought helped me feel better, when really it was just adding to the cauldron of problems. You may think vaping takes away a problem or alleviates your pain, but truly it's just adding to it and creating other problems in your life that you may not see right now, but down the line. This tip is pretty self-explanatory, and I'm sure it's why anyone out there would quit vaping, but remind yourself for your own health. You know, vaping isn't some game where you spend some money and buy this bar and hit it and you feel this feeling, taste this taste, blow out this smoke, and you can go on and live your life all peacefully. Yes, you can vape and have a peaceful life, but down the line, there are consequences for your actions, and vaping has its consequences, which are different for everyone, and you can't predict exactly what will happen to each and every person, but just know that there's a possibility for you being hurt by vaping, and you shouldn't want that for yourself. I don't want you to be hurt, and I don't want you to want yourself to be hurt. Remind yourself of all the health consequences that come from vaping. This can be anything from your mouth to your throat to your lungs to just about whatever. I don't know all the health consequences, but I know there's really scary stuff out there that you don't want happening to you. Another pro of quitting vaping is your bank account. Honestly, I didn't see this at first because I was just buying more weed probably, but the money did start to save. It really did. And I noticed myself having more money in my bank account just sitting there than I had ever before. When I was vaping, I was scrounging for money. I would find money each and every single way to get the vape because I wasn't going a day or a few hours without one. You will dramatically notice your money being in your bank account more instead of you taking it out and wasting it on something that's killing you. You're paying for your own death. At least pay for something like food, or pay for something like clothes, or pay for something like a car or a house. Don't pay for your death. So if you're looking to quit vaping, follow any of those tips and believe in yourself. Don't give up on yourself, because I know that you can do it. I thought I was the weakest person in the entire world, and look at me, I quit vaping. You can do it too. That was so cringy. You can do it too. You can do it too. You can do it too. I quit vaping in that lifestyle, and you can do it too. It really comes down to you. Someone could offer you it, and it comes down to you. Someone could say you're never buying that again, but you could go sneak off and buy one. It all comes down to you and how badly you truly want to quit for yourself. You're an amazing person, and vaping doesn't change that. But you will feel even more amazing after you quit. There was a life before you started vaping, and there will be a life after. Just don't make vaping what ends your life.